What is up, my bodyweight warriors, and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be taking a look at scapular winging, which is a postural and movement dysfunction of the shoulder. Scapular winging occurs basically when that shoulder blade kind of pops off the back and looks like you're kind of growing a wing on the back of your shoulder. This can really affect the stability and strength of the shoulder and can ultimately limit your performance, but it can also increase your risk of injury. It's actually incredibly common, scapular winging. I personally suffered it from myself, only on the left-hand side, and it took a little while to correct. Scapular winging occurs from basically a weak or inhibited serratus anterior. That's the fighter's muscle, that muscle right underneath your armpit. It looks like there's some lines on your side, and it's going to help your shoulder blades protract and upwardly rotate, which is very, very important if you want to do things like the planche, if you want to do handstand work, or anything overhead. You're going to need some form of serratus anterior activation to stabilize that shoulder. The issue with scapular winging is that it can come from both a musculoskeletal, which means that there may be muscles inhibiting the use of the serratus anterior, but also a neurological related issue. That might be due to the long thoracic nerve or the brachial plexus. So it can be quite a complex issue to solve. So this is possibly one you may want to go to a physio for rather than getting a free video off the internet. However, in today's video, I'm going to try and break things down for you. I'm going to give you some stretches, hopefully reduce some of the muscles that might inhibit the serratus anterior. I'm going to give you some activation drills so you can get it feeling working, and then I'm going to give you some integration drills that you can then integrate that activation into some actual movement patterns. First of all, let's start with the stretches. We're going to look at three stretches. We're going to be looking at the levator scapula, the rhomboids, and the pec minor. First of all, the levator scapula is a muscle on your neck, and it helps to downwardly rotate the scapula, which is the opposite to what the serratus anterior does. So what we're going to do for this one, we're just going to stretch it. To do this, we're going to sniff basically our armpit. We're going to lift up the hand or the arm of the opposite side. You're going to place the hand in a V on the back of your neck, and then all you're going to do there is try to sniff that opposite armpit and try and push and kind of lift with the hand, helping you go deeper into that stretch. You should feel a decent stretch in the back of your neck and also going down into the upper back potentially. We just want to hold this position here for 30 to 40 seconds, but we can also perform a little bit of contract relax stretching where we'd push the head back into the hand for 5 seconds or so, relax, and then try to sink a little bit deeper into that stretch. Just a word of warning, I wouldn't go super hard with the contract relax on this one. Nice and gentle, just activating the muscle and then learning to relax it. You can perform that 1 to 2 sets on each side. Next stretch up, we have the rhomboids. For this one, you can do a standard across the chest sort of stretch holding the hand. However, I personally prefer to do this one with a Swiss ball. I think it just feels better. So for this one, you get a Swiss ball in front of you, start on your knees, place the elbow on the Swiss ball, and then let the Swiss ball roll to the side, let your arm get taken across your chest and relax your shoulder into the ball. Pulling that shoulder blade around our body, kind of protracting it and making space in the middle of the back and stretching out those rhomboids. So you should feel a stretch kind of in the mid of the back, right at the top. In this position, we can also perform a little bit of contract relax where we push the elbow into the Swiss ball, hold for 5 seconds, and then relax and try and twist a little bit further and pull that shoulder blade round, getting a better stretch. Again, 30 to 40 seconds per side, perform for 1 to 2 sets. The final one we're going to look at is the pec minor. This one, again, I actually really love a Swiss ball stretch for this one. You know, again, stay on your knees, have the Swiss ball to one side, place your arm out at 90 with the elbow bent to 90 degrees, and all you're going to do is sink down your chest into a point of stretch. We can perform a little bit of contract relax here where we press the elbow into the Swiss ball, contract the pec slightly, hold for 5 seconds, relax, go deeper. Again, 30 to 40 seconds per side, 1 to 2 sets. Those are the 3 main stretches that we're going to be using to help loosen up some of those muscles that might inhibit the serratus anterior. Next thing we're going to look at is activation. Now, I'm going to give you 4 different exercises for activation, and I'm not really going to give them in any particular order. I would just recommend giving each of them a go and then seeing which ones you feel the activation of the serratus anterior most in, and then kind of sticking to that one and performing it for kind of 2 to 3 sets of around 10 repetitions. Just remember that with these activations, the serratus anterior is going to come more into play and more active when the arm passes 90 degrees flexion of the shoulder. So kind of all of these, we want to be trying to work in that range of motion. The first one, again, is with a Swiss ball, and it's kind of like a serratus wall slide. However, we're going to be using a Swiss ball as we just use it for the stretches. We're going to be performing it in kind of a horizontal plane of motion. So for this one, place both arms on the Swiss ball. Try to slightly externally rotate, so try to angle your forearms to face outwards. And then all you're going to do here is you're going to press hard into the ball, try to wrap the shoulder blades around the body, and make yourself tall. And then from here, all you're gonna do is you're gonna slide the arms forward, extend and begin to go overhead and try and feel those shoulder blades wrap around your body. You can then bring that back up, reset yourself, push into the ball, think about protracting the shoulder blades, and again, let those arms release overhead and try and keep that good shoulder position. Next one we're going to be doing is a side lying shoulder flexion. So this one's nice because we're lying on our side. It should reduce the amount of activation of the upper trap, and this can also take over some of the role of the serratus anterior. So what we're going to do, lie on your side, have something underneath your head just to support your head, arm by your side, and then all you're going to do is you're going to try and arc it up overhead. As you arc your hand up, you're also going to be thinking about reaching as far as you can away from your body, but we also want to make sure that we maintain relatively neutral and still, and letting that movement come from the shoulder blade wrapping around and protracting. This one for me is one of my favorites because I really feel the activation, but again, it's going to vary from individual what you personally prefer. Next up, we have another lying one, but this one you're going to be lying on your back, and all you're going to do is you're going to clasp both hands around the back of your head and flatten your back out against the floor. From here, what you're going to try and do is basically try and lift your elbows up. Imagine you're trying to hug a ball on your chest, and what this is going to do, again, we're trying to feel that serratus anterior, trying to feel the shoulder blades wrapping around and getting a good amount of protraction. This one I find is better done at a little bit of a slower tempo, and you try to like pause in that hug position, in that top position, and really try to contract the serratus anterior. The final one is one of my personal favorites and one I covered in my rounded shoulders tutorial, which I'll just link that down below just in case, and that is a serratus anterior band pull apart. Now the way this differs is that with a normal band pull apart, we'd have the shoulders retracted, so we just pull them and then we're pulling our shoulder blades together. However, the difference here, trying to reach forward, so we bring our shoulder blades into protraction, we get that round of the upper back, and then from here, maintaining that shoulder position, we're going to then pull the hands apart as far as we can. Now this one you should feel a nice strong contraction right underneath that armpit in that serratus anterior. Again, I find this one works well to pause for a second or two, find that contraction and go back to that starting point. All the time, keeping your hands above shoulder height. Now those are the 4 exercises. Again, perform all of them, 8 to 10 repetitions. I'd perform them at a pretty slow tempo, focus on the contraction, and then I'd also pause in the contracted position, just to make sure you get some extra awareness. After we've done that, we can now kind of look at how do we integrate this newfound awareness of this muscle into movement patterns. And there's again 4 exercises that I'm going to share with you going from easiest to hardest. The first one is a scapular push-up. There's a slight modification here. I'd recommend starting on your knees, and I'd also recommend having the hands more in front of the shoulders so there's more than 90 degrees angle at the shoulder. From here you can form a normal scapular push-up, which is when you start in that support position, let the shoulder blades come together and retract and the chest drop, and then you push hard away from the floor, let the shoulder blades go around and protract, and then push tall and get that nice round in the upper back. Once you get a little bit more proficient at this, you can go from being kneeling and then you can go into a normal position again, trying to maintain a little bit more of an open shoulder position above 90 degrees. The next step on from here is a support to downward dog position. And no, we're not doing yoga. What we're training is actually shoulder flexion with upward rotation of the scapula. So this is what the serratus is going to be used for. For this one, you want to start in a support position. So as you would start a push-up. From here, push hard away from the floor so you feel those shoulder blades protracting. And all you're going to do is you're going to keep pushing up and then try to shift your weight backwards into a downward dog position. Again, you want to feel your shoulder blades doing the same sort of movement that we're doing in like the Swiss ball serratus slides, when you're letting those arms go overhead, but you're also feeling the shoulder blades wrap around the body. A step on from this would be to use one of my favorite exercises for pressed handstand and for planche, and that is a support to pike, which is basically going to require a bit more strength and awareness, and I'll link to a video where I covered all about scapular strengthening with that exercise in it. The final one is just incorporating exercises where you have to push overhead. One of the best bodyweight examples of that is a pike push-up. This is a great way to build up your upward rotation strength, so the use of the serratus anterior, and also coordinate it into a functional way. It's just doing pike push-ups very, very simply. Pike push-ups, you could do handstand push-ups if you're really strong. You could do overhead press with a barbell or some dumbbells, even incline bench press. All of these things are going to be working up rotation, they're going to be working pressing overhead, and they're going to be using that serratus anterior. So as long as you're combining some of these activation drills and also some of these stretches with these integration exercises, it should help you increase and use that muscle more, and also slowly over time fix your scapular winging. But that is it. It's kind of a pick and mix routine. Pick some stretches that you find effective, do them 1 to 2 sets, 30 to 40 seconds per time, maybe with some contract relax. Then go into a couple of sets of some activation drills, pick one, something that you like, then choose an integration exercise, perform it 2 to 3 sets, 10 to 12 reps, something around that point, just using the muscle and trying to get aware of it, and then maybe you could even finish up with some more activation drills at the end. But that's basically it for this week, guys. If you enjoyed this video, this one has been much requested, and I hope it was helpful in you understanding possibly where your scapular winging comes from. If you have any questions, leave a comment in the comment section down below. Whilst you're down there, you can also suggest any other future topics, videos you want me to cover. I read all of the comments. Right above it, you can also hit that like button if you enjoyed this video, if you found this tutorial useful and you want to support the channel. Right next to it is that subscribe button as well, so you can join the Bodyweight Warrior tribe. Don't miss out on any more future videos. But that's been it for this week, guys. I'll catch you in the next episode. Have a strong week and peace.